folks, it's Dragon. This is just an updated video on the dual fuel stove. I did some research, and while this one I got was initially advertised as being able to use gasoline and diesel, I found the same product on another website that also advertised you could use kerosene. So very carefully I did a test on it a few days ago, and it worked quite well. So that's the kerosene. Used a little funnel to fill it up. Get these out of the way. Safe distance. Pretty much as in the original video. Fill the fuel tank up. Takes about a pint. I put the conversion on the previous video. Make sure you've got no fuel leaks, either from filling it or from any of the fuel system on the stove. If you have, whatever you do, don't light it. Wipe it down, fix the fuel leak, and away you go. So let's turn this around for the camera. This is the way you pressurise it. Again, the idea being this little red tab here, which is the fuel valve. Turn it on till you get a pool of fuel in the top here, as in the previous video. Turn it off once you've got that pool there. Now, just for the video, I'm just using a cotton bud here. In the video demo, they suggested sticking a cigarette lighter in there or something like that, which I really don't want to do. So you just need that. You can use a stick or a leaf or something like that to light it. Alright, now what we've got there at the moment is what they call a preheating stage. And basically, as in the previous video, the pool of fuel in there preheats the fuel in the fuel line and also the fuel jet, which is just under that plate there. That's so that the fuel will vaporise and burn much more efficiently. Now with the diesel one, depending on the types of fuel you use, the preheating stage, and we're in the preheating stage here at the moment, for some fuels can take longer than others. Gasoline or petrol, unleaded of course, doesn't take as long. Diesel takes a lot longer in the preheating stage, and kerosene takes less time than diesel but a little bit longer than gasoline. So we'll let it preheat for a little while. Another thing I've included in this, that some of the containers I use, like the kidney, metal kidney ones I use with my military style water bottles, you may find that it may not sit properly on top of that, or another type of container you may be using may be too small, too big, or too unstable, whatever the case may be. So I've got a lid off an old coffee tin, which I can just sit on top there and make it more stable to sit containers on top of it. Then you got to remember what this is. It's got to be on level ground. A bit of a breeze here blowing here today. Sometimes they do need a wind guard sometimes, and with the wind guard, it's got to be stand about an inch off away, or distance between the wind guard and the fuel tank. Otherwise, the fuel tank can get quite hot and overheat. Okay, the only thing I don't like about this is that during this stage, that this particular valve, red knob handle here, is very close to the flame. So if you've got a bit of a breeze blowing, you're bound to lose a few hairs on your arm. Alright, we'll see if it's been preheated enough. Let's turn the tap on. that hissing you can hear is the actual vaporized fuel coming out of the jet. And as you can see, the flame is starting to clean itself up a bit. And when burning unleaded gasoline, it burns very, very clean compared to diesel and kerosene. But certainly this kerosene flame burns a lot cleaner than the diesel. And that preheater has worked pretty well. That's about as clean as the flames you're going to get. A little bit orange there, but if you have a closer look at it, you can see blue there, so it's burning quite efficiently. So for the demonstration of this video, I'll just put this on top. And I'll just sit this billy on top. It's got about probably just over a cup of water in there. Now, I said in the previous video, these tanks, when they're full, don't overfill them. They'll burn for about 3 hours. That's what they say. You can control the flame with this. A little bit too low. That hissing noise is starting to fade a bit. So we'll see how that goes. Main thing to remember with this is, if you have one or you're going to buy one, is please read the safety instructions that comes with this. It comes on a piece of paper in the box or inside the holder as in the previous video, but there are also safety instructions on the side of the stove itself. Do not use alcohol in this, it's too volatile. So basically the only three fuels you can use is unleaded gasoline, petrol, diesel or kerosene. Excuse me. But they're a good idea. They can be used in an urban environment, homesteading, retreat, vehicle-based camping in the bush, as I mentioned in the previous video. The bag that comes in with its own tool and everything is not the sort of thing you can fit into your backpack. But it's another alternative heating method for boiling water to make it drinkable. If making a hot brew, that's Australian for tea, coffee, chocolate, whatever. Or perhaps cooking up or warming up some food. There's some good applications for natural disasters situations where you haven't got any other heating source. In the medium to long term, one of the problems you're going to have with this naturally is finding fuel for it. That's burning pretty efficiently in there. You can hear that constant hiss. This fuel vaporising and burning as it's under pressure coming out of that jet. This is also good to use if you're doing a road trip. And it's happened to me. I pulled up on a couple of rest areas on the side of the road. Yeah, they've got a barbecue pit there, no wood. And you certainly don't want to go get jumping the fence into some of these private property looking for wood to light a fire. So this is a quick and easy way to heat up some water to make a coffee or chocolate, tea, whatever. Or cook a small meal or something like that, or warm food up. And in certain applications, particularly very adverse weather conditions, or up on the snow lines, that sort of thing. It's a much more efficient way of cooking and heating things up. So yeah, it's a modern thing. It's another option. very easy to use, very quick. Fuel is going to be a problem in the medium to long term if that situation calls for it. But might be something that members and viewers are interested in. As I said in a previous video, the gas burners or stoves that use the gas canisters, there is a problem with those in cold weather, particularly when you're getting around about 0 degrees and heavy frost. I have experienced it myself, and a couple of other members on the forum have commented that the gas flow into those can be restricted or extremely retarded. In fact, a friend of mine once used one of those probably an hour's drive away here a couple of years ago, very severe cold morning, heavy frost, and he just could not get it to work because the gas froze in the nozzle of the canister. Same with diesel in this. If you're using diesel in sub-zero temperatures, diesel has a habit of turning to gel and it won't reconstitute, as I mentioned before. So that's something else you've got to be aware of too, what sort of temperatures you're going to be using this in. Alright, that water's just come up to a boil. It's taken probably over 5 minutes anyway, probably closer to 10. Naturally it boil a lot faster if I have a lid on it, but for the purpose of the video it's just to give you an idea. Now, turn it off. It's just a matter of closing the valve, shuts the fuel off. You can hear the hiss go out. You still see a little bit of flame there. It's just residual fuel, so all you've got to do is just blow it out like that. Now if you need to refuel this, make sure that it's cooled right down to ambient temperature before you start pouring more fuel back to it, in case you get a flash fire, particularly with gasoline. The tank is quite warm, not uncomfortably warm, but it is noticeable. So when you refuel these, make sure they cool right down to ambient air temperature before you refuel them. One thing I did find with this over the last week or so with doing various tests on it is the jet in there. I would recommend that you clean it roughly once after using it a couple of times. It's very easy to clean actually with the tool that's supplied with this particular stove. So that's about it, folks. Just another alternative. Very quick, very easy, very simple to use. Under certain circumstances where you want to try and light a fire, just to warm up a bit of water for a hot brew or to warm up some food. You may not be able to. This is a time saver in that regard. But also my experience too that doesn't matter how good your skills are to light a fire, you can spend half an hour trying to get a fire going under adverse weather conditions or whatever. Just to have a hot coffee or a tea or warm up a meal. So this is a time saver, and certainly here in Australia where during the dry seasons and high fire dangers and total fire bans, where you can't light a campfire, this is another alternative. Alright folks, thanks for watching.